I want to take this. It's not even a doubt in my mind. Khamzat is a strong guy, but I know for a fact that he's never felt this. In this case, he has a gun and I have a tank.
In the main event, the middleweight champion, Dricus Du Plessis, will defend his belt against Khamzat Chimaev.
The crazy thing is, this is wild. Khamzat Chimaev is the favorite. Khamzat Chimaev is a -170 favorite, and the champion, the defending champion, Dricus Du Plessis, is a +145 underdog. Now,
not to bet on it.
It's hard to say
It's
because
hard,
we don't know what happens.
There's so many question marks. We don't know.
Khamzat just shoots from like 15 feet away and gets a hold of your
But I
legs.
look at
Styles make fights, and you never seen Dricus fight a good wrestler, and Khamzat's one of the best. So
And
it's
you got to
fucking
think his
best.
endurance is probably going to be better at 85 than it was at 70 because of the cut.
Yeah.
For Khamzat, it's like 85 is really where he should have been all along.
Wanted to get your thoughts on Dricus as a champion, his run so far, and what do you make of his grappling?
What do you think, guys? How I done with this guy, Rob? How he done? Rob took him down. So if Rob took him down, so there is salam alaikum.
Finally, the fight that everyone has been waiting for a long time is officially announced, where Khamzat Chimaev will fight the champ Dricus Du Plessis for the middleweight title. Dana White announced that these two will face each other at the United Center in Chicago in the main event of UFC 319.
Now UFC 319. We're returning to the United Center in Chicago, Illinois, August 16th for the first time in 6 years. In the main event, the middleweight champion, Dricus Du Plessis, will defend his belt against Khamzat Chimaev.
Dana White further hyped up the matchup, highlighting that Dricus Du Plessis' last 4 wins were against former champions like Sean Strickland, Israel Adesanya, and Robert Whittaker. He noted that Du Plessis hasn't lost in 7 years and has finished 20 of his 23 victories. Now he faces the undefeated Khamzat Chimaev in what Dana called a badass fight that fans have been waiting for. The bout headlines UFC 309 at the United Center in Chicago on August 16th.
Dricus' last 4 wins have come over former champs Sean Strickland, Israel Adesanya, and Robert Whittaker. He hasn't lost in 7 years. 20 of his 23 wins have come by finish, and now he faces the undefeated 16-0 Khamzat Chimaev. This is a badass fight, and the fight you've all been waiting for. UFC 319 is back at the United Center in Chicago on August 16th. And stay tuned for more information about tickets and other fights that are on the card.
Dricus Du Plessis also issued a warning to Khamzat Chimaev ahead of their clash, stating confidently that this is the fight he wants, and there's no doubt in his mind about it. He acknowledged Chimaev's strength, but claimed that Khamzat has never felt power like his. Du Plessis said his strength is on another level and won't be overpowered. He predicted that once the fight gets past the second round, it's going to be all smooth sailing for him.
The Khamzat fight's what I want. I want to take this. It's not even a doubt in my mind. Khamzat is a strong guy, but I know for a fact that he's never felt this. In this case, he has a gun and I have a tank when it comes to the strength. There's not a middleweight that's going to overpower me. It's not going to happen. Once it goes past round 2, it's going to be smooth sailing.
UFC legend Michael Bisping described Khamzat Chimaev as a force of nature who only knows how to fight at one speed, full throttle. He praised Chimaev's aggressive style, calling him a straight-up killer who constantly moves forward, looking to take opponents down, do damage, knock them out, or submit them. Bisping highlighted that from the opening bell, Chimaev is all about inflicting damage, which he's successfully done in nearly every fight, with 14 wins and 12 stoppages to his name.
Khamzat Chimaev is a force of nature, and he only knows how to fight one speed, and that's why people really enjoy watching this guy fight. He goes forward, he's a straight-up killer, he's looking to take you down, do damage, knock you out, squeeze your head off. Whatever it is, he's trying to do damage right from the opening bell. And that's what he's done to almost everybody. 14 wins, 12 stoppages.
Michael Bisping also pointed out that the only times Khamzat Chimaev has gone the distance were against Gilbert Burns and Kamaru Usman. He noted that Chimaev looked fatigued in both fights and admitted that Chimaev was somewhat fortunate to get the decision over Usman. While emphasizing that he's not criticizing Chimaev's talent, Bisping acknowledged the challenge of going 5 rounds against someone like Dricus Du Plessis. He called Chimaev a finisher, a phenom, and a freak of nature. Strong, relentless, and an elite wrestler. Bisping predicted that Khamzat would look to finish DDP right from the beginning.
Only time he's gone to a decision is twice against Gilbert Burns and Kamaru Usman. And we know what happened there. He got a little bit tired. And against Kamaru Usman, well, he was kind of lucky to get that decision. I'm not talking shit about Khamzat Chimaev. I think he's phenomenal. But I think he's got some problems here going 5 rounds against Dricus Du Plessis. We've never seen him go 5 rounds. But we do know the man is a finisher. He is a phenom. He's a freak of nature. He's a strong son of a bitch. He's a great wrestler. He might not have the accolades of a bald nickel, but holy shit, when it comes to being effective, Khamzat Chimaev is right up there. He's one of the best finishers that we have in mixed martial arts right now. In fact, I will say the 2 best finishers in all of MMA right now, Tom Aspinall and Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat, 14 fights, 12 stoppages, 2 decisions, as I said earlier. And I'm telling you, he's going to try and finish Dricus Du Plessis straight away. And that's his best bet.
Bisping also praised Dricus Du Plessis, highlighting his impressive record and his current 11-fight win streak. He talked about Du Plessis' dominant run as he defeated the likes of Sean Strickland and Israel Adesanya in title fights. Bisping believes Du Plessis is constantly evolving his fighting skills. While Khamzat Chimaev may think he can easily take Du Plessis down and submit him, Bisping warned that underestimating Du Plessis' grappling would be a mistake. He reminded fans that Du Plessis once submitted an entire jiu-jitsu black belt team in training, and if Chimaev expects an easy fight, he might be in for a rude awakening.
Now, Dricus Du Plessis, this man's on fire, right? He's 23-2 overall. He's on an 11-fight win streak. He's got 10 wins in the UFC, and of course, this will be his 3rd title defense. He beat Sean Strickland by unanimous decision. He choked out Israel Adesanya in the 4th round, and he took the belt, as we know, in a close split decision victory over Sean Strickland way back at UFC 297. But they always say when you become the champion, you get 30% better. This man is improving all the time. He's got tremendous grappling of his own. If Khamzat Chimaev thinks that he's going to go out there and just take down Dricus Du Plessis and just choke him out, right, like he's some schmuck, like he doesn't know what he's doing, like he's not someone that choked out an entire black belt jiu-jitsu team one after the other, then I think Khamzat Chimaev will be in for a rude awakening.
Joe Rogan praised Khamzat Chimaev for his aggressive seek and destroy fighting style. He acknowledged that while Chimaev is confident and incredible, having gone through 4 UFC fights and only been hit twice, his style may still need some fine-tuning. Rogan also highlighted Khamzat's powerful right hand, joking that it breaks mountains, and recalled being impressed when Chimaev knocked out Gerald Meerschaert with a single punch.
We know a lot about Khamzat. We know that, first of all, we know that style, that seek and destroy, throw yourself into the fire style, it needs a little tweaking.
Yeah.
You're not going to just steamroll everybody because he went through 4 fights in the UFC and was only hit twice. I mean, of course the guy's confident.
Yeah,
of
incredible.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah,
Incredible.
he said his right hand breaks mountains.
I'm not arguing with him.
No, that's pretty confident.
It's
I
very
was like,
confident.
I was like, damn, I love that line.
Well, when he fought Gerald Meerschaert and knocked him out with 1 punch, I was like, oh my God.
MMA Guru and Demetrius Johnson also talked about this fight. MMA Guru said he believes Dricus Du Plessis might be too strong to get pushed around easily. Demetrius Johnson agreed that Chimaev is very skilled, but he thinks DDP could beat him and is leaning toward DDP winning the fight. MMA Guru added that he also wants DDP to win and feels that Chimaev is mostly dangerous in the 1st round, which makes him think DDP has a good chance.
These guys are, I used to think, you know what, DDP's got him. And I still think that, dude, he might just be too strong to be muscled around like this.
Yeah.
But Chimaev is truly on a different level.
I think DDP beats him.
I think he could, and I am leaning that way.
Yeah.
But now I'm real.
Yeah.
You know, I also want DDP to win, but I'm leaning towards DDP.
Yeah.
Because I think the idea of Chimaev is a round 1 guy.
Michael Bisping further talked about this matchup and said that Dricus Du Plessis is huge for a middleweight and a very strong fighter. He praised Du Plessis for having great jiu-jitsu and excellent conditioning. Bisping pointed out that conditioning will be especially important for Khamzat Chimaev as he moves up to 185 pounds. He explained that at a higher weight, Chimaev's conditioning and strength will likely improve because he can eat more, recover better, and train more effectively. Bisping also questioned why more fighters don't move up a weight class, saying he mentioned this before and still believes the sport would be better if they did.
Dricus Du Plessis is gigantic for a middleweight as well. He's a very, very strong guy. He's got great jiu-jitsu. He's got excellent conditioning. Now, the conditioning is going to be key for Khamzat because moving up to 185, the conditioning will be improved. The strength will be improved. He can take on more nutrients. He can recover better between training sessions. I don't know why everyone doesn't move up a weight class. I said this on a video yesterday, and I'm saying it again right now. Everyone just move up a weight class, okay? The sport will be better.
Dominic Cruz predicts the upcoming Khamzat Chimaev versus Dricus Du Plessis fight, highlighting Dricus' strengths. He likes how Dricus moves off the center line, uses effective stance switches, and boasts strong striking and takedown defense. Cruz notes that avoiding staying directly in front of an opponent makes it tough for them to shoot for takedowns. He also points out Dricus' size and strength, suggesting he could challenge Chimaev's power in the early rounds, something many haven't managed yet. However, Cruz believes this will likely be the toughest fight of Dricus' career.
I actually really like Dricus right now, the way he's looking. He doesn't really stay on the center line. His striking and the stance switch really supports him in the rest of the takedown defense. Because as long as you don't sit right in front of a guy consistently, it's hard to get a hold of the legs and shoot on you. He's also very big and strong, so I think he can challenge the strength of Chimaev in the first 2 rounds, which a lot of people haven't been able to rival. But I will say I think it might be the toughest fight of his career so far. Man, I actually really like Dricus right now, the way he's looking. Like I said in the Schmo interview, he doesn't really stay on the center line. His striking and the stance switch really supports him in the rest of the takedown defense. Because as long as you don't sit right in front of a guy consistently, it's hard to get a hold of the legs and shoot on you. So he's also very big and strong, so I think he can challenge the strength of Chimaev in the first 2 rounds, which a lot of people haven't been able to rival. Just the strength alone has been too much, and I think Dricus is sturdy enough and big enough he can challenge it, but I will say I think it might be the toughest fight of his career so far.
Bilal Muhammad also talks about the Khamzat versus Dricus Du Plessis fight. Despite his recent beef with Khamzat, Bilal backs him and said Khamzat hasn't faced many wrestlers recently, mostly strikers, and struggled against takedowns before. He believes Dricus Du Plessis, with his strong wrestling and durability, could challenge Khamzat. On Khamzat's cardio, Bilal said it's not an issue if he finishes early, but he doesn't expect Dricus to be finished easily due to his toughness.
Dricus Du Plessis. But when you're looking at the guys he fought stylistically, right? He hasn't fought a guy who trying to take him down yet. It's all been strikers. His last 2, it's Adesanya and Strickland. Like when he fought Brunson was killing him the first couple rounds. Yeah. And he just gassed. You know, we've seen him get taken down by Brunson. We've seen him get taken down by Whitaker. He's gotten taken down by a guy so easily.
I know that's your boy, but Khamzat has got some of the worst cardio in the entire company.
You don't need cardio if you finish the guy in 2 minutes.
But Dricus isn't going to get finished. He's got an iron chin and an iron will.
Former UFC middleweight champion Robert Whitaker predicts that Chimaev will probably stick to his typical strategy of securing early takedowns and dominating on the ground. He points out that defending against Chimaev's initial takedown is difficult, and even tough opponents like Du Plessis could have trouble handling that pressure. Still, Whitaker recognizes Du Plessis' size and resilience as factors that might pose challenges for Chimaev.
Khamzat against Dricus or Sean, do you think he'd be the favorite against either of them?
I think he just takes him down, and like how he beat Usman, how he beat Go Burns, I can see those sort of fights. I think he'd have more success with Strickland than Du Plessis. Because Du Plessis is like a big dude. But ultimately, stopping that first takedown is so crazy. The way he shoots in that first shot is crazy. How do you stop that dude? Jump over him. Like
Kamaru Usman, who faced Chimaev on short notice, believes Khamzat Chimaev is a name people have been talking about for a long time, and many want to see him get a big fight. He said the fight will be interesting because Chimaev is very hard to deal with in the first round. If a fighter can't get past him by the second or third round, it becomes very difficult. Usman also thinks Dricus Du Plessis has the skills to challenge Chimaev.
Khamzat Chimaev is just that name that we've been hearing for the last decade, that everyone just kind of, they want to see him get that shot.
Kamaru, who wins that fight?
Very intriguing fight because Khamzat Chimaev is probably one of the most difficult people to deal with in that first round. You can't make it to round 2 or 3 if you don't get past 1. So It's a tough one. I think Khamzat Chimaev has the tools to beat you.
Kamaru Usman also talked more about the fight, highlighting Chimaev's strong grip and how he controls opponents once he gets a takedown. Usman wondered if that same style would work against Du Plessis, who has shown great endurance and can keep fighting hard no matter how fast the pace is.
Khamzat Chimaev on your back round one is not easy to get off. And then he was able to sink that in, and that goes to show how strong of a squeeze this freaking dude had.
Could he pull that same style against Dricus Du Plessis? Because I will say this.
1000%.
Caio Baralho picked Khamzat Chimaev to win, explaining that most fighters don't prepare the right way for him. He pointed out that while many bring in wrestlers to train for takedown defense, Khamzat's style isn't traditional wrestling. It's unique and unpredictable. According to Baralho, to truly prepare for Chimaev, fighters need to first understand his system and strategy. Without that understanding, he believes no one is ready for what Chimaev brings.
Khamzat fighting against Dricus. Who do you think he wins?
I think Khamzat is gonna win because I don't see anyone preparing properly for Khamzat. They are bringing wrestlers to train them to defend takedowns and all that, but Khamzat doesn't do the normal stuff. Khamzat doesn't do wrestling. He does MMA wrestling. It's different. You need to understand his system, what he wants next. You need to understand this first, and then you start to prepare for him. And I think Khamzat is gonna win for Dricus.
Khamzat fighting against Dricus. Who do you think he wins?
I think Khamzat is gonna win because I don't see anyone preparing properly for Khamzat. They are bringing wrestlers to train them to defend takedowns and all that, but Khamzat doesn't do the normal stuff. Khamzat doesn't do wrestling. He does MMA wrestling. It's different. You need to understand his system, what he wants next. You need to understand this first, and then you start to prepare for him. And I think Khamzat is gonna win for Dricus.
UFC middleweight fighter Bo Nickal believes the grappling style is very hard to beat and defend against. He admits he's biased, but points out that grapplers have become the dominant force in MMA today. He names fighters like Merab, Islam, Bilal, and Hamza as examples. Even though some fighters, like Toro, use striking more, their wrestling background gives them an edge. Overall, Bo gives the advantage to Hamza because of his grappling skills.
I would, just based on the styles, I just think the grappling style, I might be biased. I'm definitely biased, but I think the grappling style is so hard to beat, and it's so hard to defend against. And I guess if you look at it from a analytical point of view, you have so many. It's really become the dominant force in the sport. You got Merab, you got Islam, you got Bilal, you got Khamzat. You even have you can even look at Topuria. Obviously, people know he's more of a boxing style, and he does a lot more striking. But his background is wrestling. He did that before anything else, and so it's really wrestlers that are dominating, grapplers that are dominating the sport right now. And
Brendan Schaub and Brian Callen also talked about this fight. Schaub picked Du Plessis to win, especially if the fight goes past the early rounds, believing DDP would take over late. Brian Callen backed Chimaev, saying he's the better striker and wrestler. While both praised DDP's toughness, Callen felt it was Khamzat's time, but saw betting value in DDP as the underdog.
I got a feeling DDP wins that.
I have Khamzat.
I don't.
Yeah.
If Khamzat can get done the first round and a half, maybe, I just think that thing goes past the third and DDP takes over. I think he TKOs him.
I think Khamzat is a better striker, and I think Khamzat's a better wrestler, and I think DDP is a killer. But I think it's Khamzat's time.
Could be totally off on Khamzat. He's a minus 200. Dude, take my money.
Really? You got DDP?
Yes. Especially as a dog. I figured it'd be the favorite.
I have to say,
I figured DDP would be like a minus 150. Well, Khamzat, I look at the Gilbert Burns fight. You look at the Kamaru Usman fight. You're like, okay.
Yeah, but he did out wrestle Kamaru a lot.
Furthermore, Luke Rockhold believes winning isn't always about being the most technical fighter, but about who wants it more. About the fight against Chimaev, he thinks Chimaev is a tough, aggressive fighter. If Chimaev can't out-wrestle or control his opponent, it will be hard for him to win. Rockhold feels that if Chimaev can't take control, the fight will be long and tough, possibly going to the later rounds. In that case, he favors the champion, Du Plessis.
It's not always about the most technical guy, it's the guy who wants it more. And
how do you think he fares against Khamzat?
I think Khamzat is a go for broke kind of guy. Khamzat, if he can't out wrestle you, he can't control you in that fierce state of direction of what he does. I think he'll break. Khamzat will get him if he'll get him, but if he can't get him, it's going to be a hard third, fourth, and fifth round.
Right.
I think that's going to be all Dricus.
So if it goes into the championship rounds, you like the champ?
Yeah, 100%.
Who wins, Dricus Du Plessis or Khamzat Chimaev?
Well, the long-awaited middleweight title fight between Khamzat Chimaev and champion Dricus Du Plessis is set for UFC 319 in Chicago. Dana White hyped the matchup, highlighting Du Plessis' wins over top former champions and his impressive finishing rate. Experts praised Chimaev's relentless style, but warned that Du Plessis' size, strength, and grappling make this a tough challenge. Both fighters bring unique skills, promising an exciting and hard-fought battle for the belt. Subscribe to our channel to get more updates about this fight.